can I have a motion for opening the meeting?
I make a motion to open the meeting?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections, abstaining? All right. There's no public so far in the meeting room, but we are being recorded for Groveland TV. Just want to let everybody know that. And here's our clock chiming. Under correspondence, we have a few things. So Lori, did you want, you got responses from Nancy on the road commission and weather?
Yeah, okay. So, I got a response back to Nancy on our snow policy that we had asked. The selectmen discussed your letter regarding inclement weather emergency closings at their meeting last evening. They asked me to look into several options for notifying department heads when needed. As soon as a final decision is made, I will email Carlos with the information. So you'll get the next round on that. And then right before I left, there was an email that, regarding the ponding of the water in front. I spoke with the road commissioner today and he informed me that his department will be working on the drainage problem at the library walkway sometime after the start of the new fiscal year. He did not have a specific date at this time. I will keep you updated when I have more information. So both things are on their lists now.
Great.
So we can keep following up on that. Carlos, do you want these to keep your,
He's copied.
oh yeah, the
I'll
paper?
throw him in my book with my letters.
Okay, and speaking of that, anyway, I just CC me on all correspondence so that I'm always on the bottom. I don't, CC is always like just to keep you informed, that way it's easier so that somebody stops me in the hallway and says blah, 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 and I don't know what they're talking about. Thank you. Anything else under correspondence? Did anybody get the ARIS report, packet of information? Diana thought she got a packet of information, she put it in the trustees box, and now it seems to be missing, and, so anyway, keep our eyes open for that, if anybody sees it in town hall or in our trustees box. Cause that should be coming up.
Right. She said she did contact the former director and get a bit of information on what she needed to do, and she's going to start looking into that, but we're still trying to find the packet.
What's ARIS?
It stands for something, I don't know what it is, but it's what we fill, a whole thing we fill out, perhaps it's got some name.
Oh.
So like the
It's the first
statistics.
three steps.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
It's an important thing that we need to have.
But a lot of the stats can come off the fund reports, a lot of it's measurements. It's the first step.
Yeah, it's a lot of automatically generated, and a lot of things on the director's report feed into the ARIS report also. I don't know what it stands for either.
Yeah,
Um,
it's an acronym for something.
So
So-
Diana will follow up.
And that may let her know what drawer the last year's copies were.
Speaking of throwing out, before we throw anything out of the files, or we should check with, or if we're required to keep anything, if anybody is throwing stuff out in the transition between one trustee, one officer to another. I don't know whether we have with your IRS documents, and it's like 7 years, so I don't know if we have any
Town hall keeps all of the,
minutes and agenda.
all the financial stuff too,
The statements.
all the statements.
Yeah. So
Do you give a copy to them?
A lot of it goes there first and then they put a copy into us.
Okay.
We get the copy, they get
Yeah,
Okay.
Sometimes we get the original,
Yeah.
sometimes we get it doesn't make any difference.
they have their
Yeah,
backup.
and they get audited, so that's why she needs to have that.
Yeah, and I was wondering about they would have the copies of the vouchers, so our copy is
Just for
redundant,
our
it's
own-
redundant,
yeah.
yeah, okay,
Absolutely.
great, that helps. Approval of minutes. Did anybody
it.
have
Don't
any,
have the minutes.
you don't have a minute?
I read them.
I read them, I didn't see
I
any.
don't
Okay.
think so either.
I
We can
fixed
share.
Denise's last name, I spelled it wrong, but I saw that today, so I fixed it.
I would never notice that
Yeah.
unless I tried. So,
I make a motion we accept.
Let me just look a moment, there was one thing I had seen on it, oh, make the motion. See,
I make the motion to accept the meeting minutes from June 2nd, which was really our May meeting, as is.
as is, can I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Thank you. Then under director's report, does anybody have the vouchers, totals? And copy?
Nope, I can get them.
Okay,
Well,
We can table it till the next meeting.
Okay.
yeah.
I motion to table.
all in favor? No, second, sorry.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and, under museum renewal, I think Diana's email went to everybody,
Yes.
about the, Wenham.
Yeah, and I have it here, she made a copy for everybody as well.
We used to have that.
Oh, yeah?
Years ago.
Yeah,
we
that's
had
right, she
that.
said they stopped it and now they're doing it again.
Yeah.
It's
Making
a
it
great
available.
museum.
It's a wonderful, yeah.
And looking at once this goes around, you'll see it's, for the cost, you're getting 6 passes to use every day.
Wow.
And then the Thursday pass can be used on Monday holidays when open to the public.
My granddaughter's
Is there any,
Wednesday house for lunch,
section
and
that's, blacked out?
There's nothing blacked out on here. They're open Tuesday through Sunday.
Oh, but you don't get them on Sunday.
Right, yeah, I'm just reading the hours here.
Tuesday through Saturday.
Tuesday through Saturday.
Saturday. Include membership with 6 reasonable passes, one for each day, Tuesday through Sunday.
It's
Tuesday through Saturday.
This is the equality.
The only question I
Yeah.
had was, it sounded like this was a pass that needs to get returned. And I don't know if that's something that
It is a
we have
returnable
other
pass.
passes that do that?
The PBD Essex pass is a
Yeah.
All
returnable
right,
pass.
okay, and that they've had success with.
Yep,
So you
the
check it out like a library card and so
Yeah.
you.
Okay,
they
so
know who
they're,
got it.
okay,
Yeah.
the park, the national parks is returnable.
okay.
Is there air conditioning
Oh,
in
that's
there?
interesting. This is,
That's going on right there.
Okay.
So I would say half and half or between returnable and not returnable.
Okay, because I've used only the ones that
Yeah, don't have to.
I don't have to return, so I didn't know if
There's
it's.
a discrepancy.
Yeah.
There is a
And-
discrepancy, yeah.
But I don't think that makes a great deal of difference. I think it's an excellent museum. I think it's a wonderful place to go. They have rotating displays, and the doll collection is amazing, the train section is
Yeah,
amazing.
they have
I
great
like to make
family
it.
programs
Yeah.
as
Oh,
well.
it's
Who
wonderful.
pays when a pass is lost? Does that get paid by us or does that get paid by the?
Person
patron
who
who
loses
took it out?
There's a policy on
I
that.
believe there is a policy.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
The person who loses it is responsible for reimbursement.
And thankfully, it's not a huge charge, it's $10,
Right.
so I think that it's not
That's not
Unreasonable.
barriers
unreasonable
of
to
success.
ask somebody to pay for that loses it.
I make a motion that
Oh,
we.
wait a minute, we
take
didn't
that
say it out loud,
policy.
$350 for the year, right?
Yes,
So one of the other things I wanted to make a point of is that it's so local.
It is.
You know, so it's like it doesn't require going to another state or to downtown.
Right.
So,
I say we try it for a year before we
I
make the
do too.
motion, let's try it for a year and see how many people check it out.
Exactly, and we have to have a
Is
lot
it-
of publicity
Yeah.
on it.
Right, add it back to
We've
the email,
added
add it
a
to,
new
exactly,
Yeah.
yep,
And even put a sign in the library that we have it for the people that don't do it.
yes, definitely.
I make a motion that we purchase the Glen Museum pass for $350 and use, state aid money to do it.
So, I'm sorry for 1 second, is this under now fiscal year?
This would be fiscal
The new fiscal
15,
year, right?
2015.
yeah.
yeah, anything new would be under the new budget. Cause we're out of money, we've
Right.
successfully used our budget. And so can I have a second? And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the other thing I wanted to mention is Lauren did put out a flyer in the library for free Fridays. There's many museums that have free Fridays, and a longer list this year. So it's on, nice colorful, stand-up because the
And it's
list
in the
has
Globe
grown.
this week, too.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful program. It's, this year I think there's 5 or 6 museums on each of the Fridays, starting this Friday, going through the next 10 or 11, through almost all of August. Great program.
The other two that I got from Diana is a second Massachusetts Parks Pass, which would be $35. The first one is free, so it's getting a lot of use, so we could use a second pass. And the whole pass for an individual would be $35. So this one gets to be rented. So if I could have a motion for that.
I love that the first one is free, so I'll make a motion to pay for $35 out of state aid or donation,
Oh, the donation account.
donation account.
I second it.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. And the next one is Zoo New England, which,
That one is another great one, Zoo New England, because it covers the Stone Zoo and Franklin Park Zoo.
Oh, it does?
So you
Yeah.
can go to either
Oh.
one of them. It, sorry to interrupt you,
No,
it reduces the ticket price to, I believe, $6 a person. And,
I can't really figure that out.
it
Well, that was used a
There's stuff on
lot.
the other side of that.
used a lot, yeah,
Yeah.
it's up to 6 people, for adults are $6 and children are $4. Saves about 83% off the ticket price.
Excellent.
And this is one of the, ones that are just, a tear out book,
Uh-huh.
so it doesn't have to be returned to the library, which is
Because this letter has, if you want additional passes, what the cost would be.
This
So
is
it
for the
doesn't-
park, this is not for
Oh,
the
sorry.
zoo. Yeah, that's for the parks, pass, this is the zoo pass here.
That's why I don't
So,
understand
yeah,
it.
so it's, we could either choose
We know what we used to
a
have.
$400 or a $250, I don't know.
Well, I've got the one from June 2013 to May 2014, and it was $325.
Well, it's interesting because the Explorer is 400 and the Voyager is 250.
Actually, we had the less expensive one, or more, maybe
The more expensive one,
It
yeah,
just went
it
up a
just
little
went up
bit.
$50.
Yeah.
So I
And it was
agree.
used 56 times. It was
Which
one of the higher
That was
uses.
one of the
And which
highest.
ends up being how much a trip.
$5.80.
That is
That's
fabulous.
a bargain.
So may I have a motion to renew the Zoo New England membership Explorer level for $400, which is, by the way, 83% off the regular ticket price.
Make a motion to take it out of the donation account, to buy it out of the donation account.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
I think there was a plumbing issue there.
How much is the, let me see the.
The Wenham 350. Are we talking about the Wenham or are we talking about
We're talking about the
second,
state parks.
second 35? All right, so those were the museum pass renewals, 3, and we can wait on staff concerns, or the main staff concern was the plumbing issue.
Right.
Lori, and there was many people
There were many
here
people.
on staff, on call, but I was not one of them, so
Yeah,
Laura,
only
do you
one
wanna-
bought a mop.
Laura brought them up.
I brought 'em up.
You get to talk, baby.
It was not appropriate to bring them up to the kind of
Flood we
flooding
were
that we
having.
had here. I think you were here,
I was
At
here
the
as well,
time.
Carlos was here,
Carlos was here.
Anne Marie was here.
Heidi came in, everybody was
I saw it
here.
after the fact.
Yes.
Yeah, I was there.
Contact by phone.
Signed him up.
So I just came in, well, we saw the email from Gail that said that the bathroom, the men's bathroom was flooding. So I was coming in for the night program in the Bloodmobile, so I came over a little early, mop and bucket in hand, realized that wasn't gonna work.
A lot more
Denise
than a mop
kinda,
bucket.
it was a lot of mopping. Denise had contacted ServPro, and ServPro was here 5:30, 6 o'clock, and started pulling up all the water. Carlos and Jen and Carlos's kids moved the real heavy shelves and took the things off in the middle. But other than that, those were the only shelves, I think.
Yes, that was the only thing that we moved, and it was necessary because we knew that it was just gonna collect underneath it.
Underneath
Oh,
it.
yeah, it would have just turned into a moldy mess.
Yeah, and it was just,
Spread
and
out.
it was starting to smell when we were, at that point when we were here. So, we moved that, and then the highway department will come in
Mhm.
and move it back when time is appropriate. You know, when we feel that the rug is dry, or we feel that we don't need to do, anything else to the area.
So the
Kinda
water-
like the open area,
I
but that's
know,
another
I
story.
And the water went into the children's area somewhat, the teen room somewhat, the men's bathroom, which was buckling almost immediately.
Yeah.
So Serve Pro started, it was very strong. There was a meeting, program going on in here, it didn't impact in here at all. The meeting broke up, and then it was pretty evident that it was just, so Gail left, and then other people had the option to leave. Serve Pro did their thing, and then they put a deodorizer down. We opened all the windows, and I talked to Beth. So we opened all the windows, kept their fans running, and Denise and I met the next morning, and it was the middle area. There was nothing anywhere else but the middle area and the men's bathroom that still had enough of a smell that Denise started coughing. So that's when it was decided that we should close for the day while they continued. We put the air conditioners on. They said either open the windows or use the air conditioners, and it was gonna be hot and humid, so we used the air conditioners that day, and I'm not getting the smell.
No.
Wow.
No.
I have
And
no
they
sense of smell, so.
suggested that we continue with the dehumidifier and the fans.
Until Thursday at least.
Mhm.
So they'll come to reassess Thursday, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
So do we have any, you know, in my work, we always look at what could have been easier, done differently, what would work, I
We
think.
had a turn-off.
Yes.
Which they have. The plumber came in, the plumber fixed
So we have,
the toilet,
who came, Burke?
Burke
Yeah,
has our
Burke.
assembly.
Yeah.
Okay. and so gave a turn-off key to Diana. It might be good for all of us to have an idea of where
What
you
do you-
use the key.
Where you use it and where it's kept.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
kept in the, yeah.
I think we should, I know the talk is about a lockbox coming into the library, but I think that's something that maybe we should initiate sooner rather than later, so there's an extra set of keys in there. I think that key is in there, and any other important,
So we all know where it
we all know
Facility
where it is.
function key.
Facility function key is in there, just in case.
And this
And all
is
the
an,
staff know, that'd be part of staff training when
Yeah.
they say staff.
Yeah,
and it's an example of not having a director, you know, like the director might have known, but
No, I don't think they had a
No,
key.
no,
They did not
yeah.
have a
There
key
was no
here.
key.
They really, I mean, you know, Denise jumped
Does
into
it have a key?
everything right
Yeah.
away. Diana and Gail were in there and trying to
Diana
fix
was
the
holding the ball,
toilet,
so-
holding the
She's
ball
standing in
up,
buckets
and
to-
she said until I got all the way in there to hold the ball up to stop the water.
They called Denise to say they needed some towels, and then Denise said, you need more than towels here. But everybody, I mean, there were trustees that were in
Yeah.
here, the staff was in here, Denise was in here. I mean, I really don't think you could have asked for a
No.
better response than what we got.
and,
So the best learning is we all worked together
Exactly.
at town hall and got it done and called people immediately, and that's,
I
that,
have a
and
question, is this key that they gave you, is it gonna work on both toilets?
I believe
I
it is a
believe it
universal
is.
key,
Yeah.
but
We
we
will
will
check.
find out.
I mean, just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe this toilet is 2005 and that was a
logical part of me
all right,
is-
1977 and maybe it's 2 years different toilet, so it might not be universal.
We will find out the answer to
Yeah.
that. I don't think that ever came up. But then at the same time, the lights went out in the ladies' room. So there was no lights in the ladies'
And the
room.
emergency light
The
was.
emergency light wouldn't come on because I think it was just the bulbs were out. It wasn't the ballast or anything else that we thought it would be. It wasn't a fuse, it wasn't anything else. So they were using a flashlight, letting visitors use a flashlight. So when I came in, I had them tape the emergency light on. So there was always a light in there. We didn't have to worry about handing someone a flashlight to use the restroom. And I just asked them to take the tape off at the end of the night, so we didn't burn that out at the same time, which I think they did. And then the electrician came in
Replace the bulbs.
today
Mhm.
because we were closed yesterday. Unless Denise let them in yesterday, I can't remember now.
She did let them in yesterday.
Yesterday to replace the bulb. there was a concern about calling a volunteer to come in and fix the light bulbs, and that has been brought up from town hall now, that that's not
No,
a responsibility for any volunteer to come in and to do any job like that. We can't ask anybody to do that. We need to go through the proper channels.
exactly.
Did I hear that these are more household toilets than maybe, I don't know whether I heard that from
They've been
someone or.
installed a long time ago.
I mean, they've had problems consistently, if I'm understanding, with
There's been problems.
toilets.
I mean, I would think they have to be commercial if they have any sort of key that requires
Yeah.
them, because, I mean, a household toilet doesn't have it.
That's
Right.
what we had been told by the previous person who worked at town hall, that was household, they need a key to turn
That's true.
on.
It might be the lowest grade of a commercial toilet, but
Yeah.
And hopefully, we could I can follow up with Denise on that and say, you know, if insurance is looking at that, will insurance replace the toilet? You know, if it's a low-grade toilet, in order for it to not happen again, do the toilets need to be replaced?
oh, that was just what, do you wanna follow up about the insurance?
I think only if the bowl is cracked or the tank is cracked, that would be the only reason to replace them.
Always
That's
worth
the same
asking.
thing town hall was.
So the only thing that occurred was that the bulb inside just got stuck.
It was stuffed, it was too much toilet paper in there, and then something caused it to then gush.
But that's been a continuous problem in both men's and mostly the ladies' room, that
One of the women in the Bloodmobile said that it was running. Someone said to her it was running, so then she went in and she fixed it. And then
It was nice
after
of
that,
her.
and then after that, she told someone it was running, I think I fixed it, and then after that, it was when they saw her, so.
it's the only.
So unfortunately, it was a very busy day in the library that day. We had the Bloodmobile, and they were doing check-in in the teens room, then we had a night program. Didn't we have a morning children's
I
program
think there was.
also, so,
And it was a madhouse in here, I
Yeah.
was in earlier in the day.
probably, the lights I think were out already, so double
Yeah,
the
it
use,
sort of
double
happened
the
all
use.
at the same
at
time. The lights went out, then the toilet overflowed, and then
And I actually don't have the email from Denise on the insurance, but I forwarded it to everybody.
Okay.
So the carpets will be cleaned, the tiles will be replaced, the men's room needs to be locked or not used until everything is done.
And the walls can be painted.
And the walls will be repainted. Actually, all carpets will be cleaned by the insurance, so.
Wonderful.
and then they will also look at what's lifting too, to see if that can be.
So it could be repaired.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's an excellent,
So that's wonderful.
excellent.
But we need a sign on the women's room to say women and men.
Was it?
And the Bloodmobile people said it was very successful, that they were constant.
Good.
Oh,
They had
good.
constant
Feeling
people.
Yeah, they said they
coming in.
filled the slots. They filled all the slots that they were trying to fill.
Thanks to Carlos's wife and son, I
Yes.
think, or was it your daughter that was here?
Yeah, they were all here.
It was your son.
Carlos and Tony.
Yeah.
For about most of the day, I guess. And then we came in after that.
The registering the people. Excellent.
Thank you.
So that's because that's our first time ever having the Bloodmobile here, so that's a good thing.
And I heard a few people were just driving by, saw the sign and came in,
Wow.
which was great. I thought that was wonderful.
Registered, so the slots were filled in.
Tim and I came last minute, and then two people in front of us came, so there was four right there that came at 5 o'clock, and they did have some slots open, so.
Wow, that's great.
And they were terrific, they were very good.
So under staff concerns, we might want to wait for that. I'm just going to go down to the policy update. We are going to table anything that's not essential because our goal is to get out by 8 o'clock and we want to look at the library director position. So can I have a motion to table the policies?
Make a motion to
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the bylaw update, same thing, we're postponing it because we need further information. So does that have to be formally postponed, or we knew it at agenda time?
table.
We knew it at agenda.
We knew it at
Yeah,
agenda.
okay. So, treasurer's report, no, but wait, up to staff concerns. So, Lori, has been doing the vouchers, so, there's some simple things, again, that we were talking about last meeting that would make life easier, so like, things like, cleaning the DVDs, that is a handheld piece of plastic, and you actually manually go around like this to clean it. There are machines that you put them in, press the button, it turn around and go back, and it's done. So I'm not sure how clean this is working. So they're like,
They brought out the DVD player cleaning piece, and it's just this cheap little plastic thing, and they turn it, and apparently a lot of the things coming from other libraries are dirty. And so people are taking them out, they're not able to use them, and then they try to clean them with their little handheld spinner, and so they asked if they could look into a better disc
and I
cleaner.
said that's the kind of thing that is under maintenance, like supplies and office equipment, and should just be
Well,
bought.
it can't be,
Yeah.
it can't be,
So-
it can't be
so
allowed,
they're-
right?
Right, yeah.
So,
And they've had it for many years.
yeah, and so anyway, those are the kinds of things that is a little disconcerting that nobody has just bought, so
So
I
I-
said, go ahead, buy it,
Right, so you
and,
said to go ahead.
yeah.
Absolutely.
and, I can't think of any of the other ones, just cause I'm on brains and vacation mode.
Oh.
The other one was the phone.
Oh,
Yeah, yes, follow up on the phone, right?
So I brought a phone in, it wasn't a 2-line, which you had said to them. So I brought that back. I'm having a hard time. There's very few 2-line phones that have the handsets that aren't outrageously expensive. I mean, we could go to up to $500-$600.
There are the ones from the same brand, just a couple of models up.
Yep.
That is about, I thought it was like $30 more than the one you purchased.
Okay.
They just don't have it at Radio
Well,
Shack?
I've been to Radio Shack, Staples, Best Buy, and online, and they were running $270 just for one setup, one handset, and one separate handset. So you'd still have to buy 2 more handsets, and that was $120. So I was still trying to find, and we also have to get the other phone line moved over from the fax line, because that was never done. So it would be a second line coming into the library, but I'm still looking at phones. If you know of a site.
Yeah, I'll,
Yeah.
cause that day I looked them up and I said, here's the one that we want.
Okay.
I bought those at Costco.
That's what I was thinking, we
Two-line
could check
phone.
at BJ's
With 3
too,
handsets?
but-
But it's all with handsets, not corded.
Yeah.
Really, and we were looking for 4 handsets, so.
And
Good.
you have to buy some of the extra hand, they don't come with 4 necessarily, but yeah.
I'll get it from you, cause I was looking all over I was out all week looking at different places too, so.
Yeah,
Can we
So-
bring falls?
On the other hand, is it if spending another $100 makes it a more robust system, is that a problem? Like, is there any limit for the amount of money what ballpark are we trying to keep under? Nothing.
Well, I was doing it just myself
Yeah.
to the library. I was
Okay.
just
Okay.
buying it and giving it to the library
If
as a
it's
donation.
necessary, we have to spend what it takes to
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So can we make a motion to have that paid for either via state aid or donation account, so that it's not prohibitive?
I would say state aid, but
And
up to what, up to what, Carlos?
I would, don't wanna say until we're.
Certainly no more than 500. I
Oh, no,
wouldn't let
it
it go,
wouldn't be
and I
nice.
think it should be cheaper. I would say 400 maybe.
Okay.
It could be even
I make a
cheaper
motion to
than
go
that.
to $500 for cordless phones for the staff.
right, for a 2-line system
Two-line system for handheld.
with 4 handhelds, so that we're not limited. The children's librarian can have a phone
Up to,
without,
and up to 500 out of state aid, and then, as fast as we can get them.
can I have a second?
Awesome.
And all in favor?
Do we have?
Any opposed?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. Yay, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I haven't been doing very
I
well.
know.
I've been going in and out
Yeah,
of
but you
stores.
started the ball rolling, and that's important.
And I bought the single line, and I thought they were too busy to charge them. I didn't know you would talk to them. So I lined them all up charging, and Lauren came in and she said, Carlos said that we can't use these. So I took them all back.
Well, no, I presented to them that, cause they said they wanted to have the 2 lines.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, well, this one doesn't do 2 lines, so it doesn't make sense to keep this one and then we have to turn around and buy another one.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
So going,
What they would charge.
that would be on the list for the interim director, if they can get that second line merged over so that it's from the fax machine. So we have,
I think we can do that with-
with.
You have a fax line and the main line.
So we have two lines.
You have two lines,
We-
you just, depends on
fax-
what you plug into
The
it.
fax
Yeah.
line is not, is a phone line.
It's a phone line.
But you have to bring the wiring to the front desk for that? Oh, no, we could do
Just
it
I
in
have
the
no
director's
idea.
office. Yeah, that's good. We're
It just
good.
Depends what,
It is.
What you
nice.
plug
yeah,
in.
the
Yeah.
machinery you
Plugged
plug
into
into
it,
it, it's the
then
way it
it'll
goes.
Yeah.
race.
Yeah.
glory be to God, thank God.
Now, there is an issue with the calling, right? So if you call from the outside and you use our main number, it's only gonna ring the one line unless we get the
A
town
rollover.
to get them to set it up to, so that they
Roll over.
Which
Yeah.
really is just a business discussion of having the, talk to the phone company and have it roll over.
Yeah, it's not a big
Lines
deal
over
for
in
the
the
phone
tower.
company to do.
All right,
And I don't mind doing it if the town hall doesn't wanna do it.
okay.
Do we not use the fax machine?
Hardly at all.
She,
And if
she
they
most,
wanted to, they could unplug the
Right.
phone and
plug it in,
Right.
I just, yeah.
Right, because
Yeah.
you usually know when a fax is coming nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And it was being used if for people who wanted a notice via the phone, they would pick up the fax machine phone and call saying your book
book
is
is
in.
ready.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why it didn't tie up the main line.
yeah.
Makes sense?
The other thing they brought up was the playaways.
Oh, right, two playaways. I thought this was a great thing that that Diana and Lauren had noticed, where we buy this thing called playaways. So there's books on tape and there's books on CDs, and playaways are a little unit that often have battery issues, and you just plug in your headset, so you're listening to the whole thing. It's you don't have to change tapes, you don't have to have a player. But only one or two people are using it,
Only two people
Two
have
peop-
ever used it.
and
And it's $700
not regularly, and it's about $700, and
a year.
So maybe we could, save that money, borrow, because we're in the consortium, so that's what the consortium's here for. So, looking at that as a non-renewal,
I think that's a great idea.
I thought that was that's a huge savings. What's our phone
Pay for
for
the
us?
phone,
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Somebody make a motion.
So,
I make a motion
To,
to stop doing the playaways.
okay, and
Are we gonna stop it just cold or let their subscription run out?
I love this subscription.
yeah.
Probably let the
Well,
subscription run
I
out.
don't even know
Yeah.
how it's bought. So not renew the subscription or stop the stop the process.
And they should let the two people know that, I mean, we can still get it, or they can
They
get
can
it
still
from other
get
Keep them
it.
full,
libraries.
the
It's just
consortium.
gonna take them a little longer,
Yeah.
because they'll have to.
But
get
we should just make sure the staff lets them know, so it's not a
And
surprise.
it's only one or 2 days for anything practically.
Right, very quick.
Yeah.
So playaways.
So I make the motion, is someone second?
I will
Second.
second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Any update on the projector?
I've gotten, both companies have come in. The problem is school, this is the summer, so they're really, really busy. And they're telling me that they'll put us in. If there's a cancellation, that they'll contact us and come do it, but they don't have a definite date yet.
So we can't make an appointment with these people? Even if it's 3 weeks from now or a month from now?
It would be like 2 months or more.
Oh my God.
So,
Maybe we should get in their schedule for 2 months out, and
Yeah,
then if they
really,
get it,
absolutely.
And
so
then
I've,
you're on your
I've asked them
calls.
to give me when is the dates that they can
Yeah.
give us so that we can decide which one to go with.
Yeah.
And these are technical.
These are companies that's what they do.
Okay.
So it's not just an electrician that could come and wire this?
No,
Because they've already done that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the wiring's already in place.
The
It's
electricity's
physical
in.
hanging of the.
One of the good things is we now have our curtains, and they had our first movie on Saturday.
and it was great.
and
Everybody was
they
very
used
happy
used
with
that
it.
new projector on a table
Right.
and projected to the old screen. So,
No, we use the old.
oh, you
Use
did the old.
projector, yeah.
But
But it was still great, we got a great response.
The
and-
blackout curtains worked very, very well. But the biggest thing is, when we were cleaning up after it, is trying to pull the
Slide
curtains
them
back
back,
over.
yeah.
You had to get
Oh,
up
that
on a
was-
chair to try to pull them
And
over.
I think if we
What I did on a couple of them is I taped the little section
Yep.
that it catches on,
yeah,
and then it's
Ah.
a
Easy
lot
to
easier.
slide.
Oh, great.
yeah.
The
And,
extension
um,
is- I gotcha.
And Tony with Carlos's wife was saying, you know, when we open them, if we open them, and do we want tie backs? She was thinking about tie backs. Do we need them? Do we want them?
I think it would be good.
And then if we open both that way and both that way, it'll, like that one is, because then it would be like a window
Right.
instead of like this one's on both
That would
sides.
be on
Yeah.
the side,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I was on a chair
Yeah.
having trouble
Yeah.
getting it to move
And if you
and I'm short.
yeah, and if we put them in the other way, it'll slide easier too.
Which is what we did.
And tape them, yeah, on that one, yeah.
Great.
So we'll work out the kinks.
But everybody said it was excellent. The response from that night was excellent.
We did take and wash them to get the wrinkles out and put them in a dryer, and the wrinkles did not come out.
And well, I think she even put them in the washer again and got them damp, and then dried them.
and then hung them so
Oh.
they were just, and
Oh.
they still didn't come
We
I
out.
might
think
have-
once they're pulled back,
Yeah.
and then you know what, they're gonna be going
It's like
back
a
into
shirt,
the
a new
wash.
shirt when you take it out of the package.
Yeah.
You know you're
They've
gonna
been,
get
they've been pressed, those wrinkles are under.
Ah, they'll come out
Pressure shift.
eventually.
Look at they're functional, they work with, they
It's
look
a
good.
great
Right,
color.
they
And the
look
staff
color.
love the look of the
Ties in with
curtains
the
being
rug.
in here.
Goes with the rug and the trim. So yay, thank you.
Nicely done.
We will get that projector up one of these days soon, beating the band up. All right,
Oh, they wanted utensils.
yeah,
That was another thing they brought
Utensils
up
for the
to us.
kitchen? Okay.
yes,
We can
silverware.
get them utensils for the
I
kitchen.
moved things last Saturday. I moved things so people can, not this Saturday, but the Saturday before, so people actually can put their feet under the counter and eat. So that
Sit
that was-
properly.
sit
Yes.
properly and eat.
Excellent.
So that was very welcomed.
And the closet was cleaned out as well, and that
Yeah.
was very, very welcomed.
Yeah, while we were hanging her and Tony, it's like, well, while we're waiting for the ironing, let's do something else. So she helped me clean out the closet. We hung things, we reorganized things, and I think we'll be able to put more shelves in there there might be extras of those green shelves to rehang if I go to the basement. So, anyway,
So yeah, the staff asked that for us to help with that too, so that's
Yeah.
great.
But they're really giving us some good responses, and they have, you know, things that we didn't know they needed, and also good ideas. I mean, who knew about the playaways?
Yeah.
That's
That's
great,
good.
a
Yeah.
great savings.
all right, treasurer's report, or anything else? Treasurer report?
Treasurer's report, I'm waiting for the May, and we got something, but it's not the whole thing. It just shows
Let's do
that
all the things.
we spent, one of these shows that we I moved the money from one spot to the other. And it was written, the check was written, but I'm waiting for the one with all the sub accounts.
And
So
that
I
hasn't
can
come yet.
No,
Yeah.
no. So I can make sure they took the right amount out of each
Account.
account.
Okay. So we'll see.
I mean, I
You're
can
gonna
pass
keep,
this
you're
up
gonna
soon.
keep that before you transfer it to Lori.
Yeah, I wanna
Yeah.
check it, yes, make
Yeah.
it right, and I will definitely pass this, it just shows that we put money in and we took money out. We moved it from one side,
To the other.
Have you had
Yeah.
a chance to explain all the,
not yet, we both have had a few falls.
you know?
So when we ordered the bubble wrap, we ordered a little
I
bit
fell
more.
for her.
We have a
Oh.
plan in place.
We have a
We
plan
have
in place.
supplies, order
Yes.
bubble wrap under supplies.
I know.
Thank you.
So,
So, Kathy, can we go into executive session the way it is for discussing the interim director and,
The open meeting law.
Yeah.
Laying for verbiage.
Yes.
and,
If you wanna cover the other things first, and then we don't have to keep him to come back in,
okay,
what are
I think he has to come back in to close the meeting,
okay.
because the meeting has to then open back up to the public and then
right.
close the
So-
meeting from there, but I'll get the proper,
You can close in in executive.
So we didn't
Well,
write it
while,
that way.
while you're getting the verbiage, maybe we finish up anything else that would stay under open meeting law.
I think, posting the position can stay under open meeting.
Okay,
I think it was just
I think
us
it has-
discussing,
The interim.
the interim is.
And does everybody have a copy of the position posting?
Have you guys had
because
a-
when they go into
Yeah.
executive session, it's separate minutes, you know that.
Yeah.
I have copies of that, Beth, with coffee spill on the top. People don't mind that.
Oh, wanna talk about the posting, the open position for director?
Yes.
I don't have a copy.
Here, let her have
I
that.
don't think I have.
It's this one,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll share this.
It's coffee spill.
I'm sure I have it somewhere.
Okay, I have another one. Let's see if I just.
So this is, posting for the permanent director position. This is a copy of the job posting that we used last time. That was, well-researched and compared, to several different other libraries and per the MBLC, suggestions under, MBLC has a, website for trustees looking for directors, a whole packet of data. So last time we pulled that together from there. Lisa DeBay was the, lead of the search committee at that time. And the one thing that is, that we had decided upon last time was asking for a master's degree in the library science. It's not required for our level of a library under 10,000 in Massachusetts, but we had felt it was, really what we needed. In interviewing for an interim position, several people had made comments about how wonderful the programs were. We're a very busy, active library in comparison to all the other libraries that are under 10. So we know we're good and we know we offer a lot of wonderful programs. So keeping that MLS, I think, keeps that level.
But does that cause us a problem in terms of people being too qualified and then moving on sooner? Does that impact us that way?
That's a good
Where
question.
they are in
In
their,
their career.
in
Right.
their career.
We've heard from a lot of people that this is, as you've heard, is a starting or an ending library because of its size.
Right.
So I think if we got someone new into their career, we might keep them for 5 or 6 years, before they move on, or they help us expand, and then it's something for them to stay into for that reason. We get somebody the last 5 of their career, it's one of those.
How many years was the previous director here?
2 years, and the one before that was just
4.
about 4 years.
And the one before that was 30,
But she didn't have it.
but she didn't have it
No.
then.
She was just, right.
So, like Lori, I think what Lori says is a valid point, they will move on, so, in my opinion, 3 to 5 years is, you can do a lot in 3 to 5 years, and you can make impact and be able to move without it being a negative on anybody, it's like, in one hand, would we hire somebody with no previous experience as a director? Our last 2 had no experience as a director, and, Deb did fabulous things moving this library forward, and, Natalie had, 2 years of maintaining, so it's hard, you go spectrums.
It's hard to say, if somebody's going to make it a career, they know that their only chance to advance is with an MLS.
No.
I don't see that.
Will you accept it without?
It is, in this description, it is, education experience preferred.
Bachelor's
So,
degree, Exactly.
Because then if someone had, I mean, phenomenal experience.
Or
then-
was on their way getting the degree and didn't quite have it yet,
Exactly.
that we wouldn't be necessarily
Exactly.
turning them away.
So the other one is 3 to 5 years of progressive responsibility in library administration. So if you were a reference librarian, and then you were head of reference, and then you were an assistant librarian, or you were an assistant, so any moving up is considered positive. And 2 years supervisory, and now that doesn't say it has to be library supervision, so it could be any supervisory experience.
Which one are you looking at? I just want to make those on a past one, because I found a couple different copies.
I think it's that one on your far right.
This one
Yeah.
here?
It looks
Yeah.
like
Okay,
it.
I have 3 copies.
And it's 3 pages.
Of this, so if someone doesn't have one that wants to, does everyone have this copy?
Well, I gave my
Okay.
copies to you anyway. You want a better one? I'll take my copy.
Okay.
Carl, do you?
Yes,
Okay.
So,
I'll take a copy, Jen,
Okay.
without sharing,
Sure.
that way I don't.
Okay, and then, so was this the actual posting? This was the actual posting that went up?
Or was this whole 3-page thing posted? Because I know when we were in a position with Deb, I was in charge of the search committee, and we weren't allowed this much space.
Right, I believe this is the
This is,
posting.
this is the,
this is the job description probably at our site, and this
It
is
is.
probably the
Posting.
posting.
Okay.
So, for,
That makes more
Yeah.
sense.
yeah.
this is the job description, I think.
And then, this one has the closing, this shorter one has, when do we close,
The search.
accepting resumes.
Right.
And I will tell you, for the past director, we had application from Texas and, California, and it was shocking to me how far and wide people applied for this job.
Until
And
you tell them you're not gonna help them.
Well,
Move.
we can't afford it.
we,
We're
we
not-
have no, we have no
No, I just said
budget.
that 'cause that was my next question, do we
No.
relocate
We
people?
have no budget to relocate, we have no budget
Do
to
you
fly
have
you.
another copy of
I
it?
don't have another copy of the posting, but I can pass it. Sure.
And we don't have any money to bring them in
No,
for
there's
an
no
interview
budget.
Oh, I'm
either.
sorry, I do have one more here.
We'll give it to
So
them.
is that in the, will we add that to the posting?
This is this,
That we will not relocate, or?
Yeah, the relocation is
Yeah.
not,
oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that would cut down.
That would
on
cut
some-
down.
on some of that, 'cause I remember we had
it
that
won't
job.
cut down on
Yeah, it was like-
everything, because some people will still apply.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then ask you about.
Yeah, because they
accepting.
think it might not apply to them.
yeah.
I think,
They're
yeah, we just
special.
asked Denise about the proper wording of it.
Exactly.
Well, and you can go on the website, MDLC, and you can look at how, the other helpline.
Yeah.
And pick up some of the verbiage. It's all there.
And,
This is very well done. This,
And is there, you said there's a date on there as to?
well, that
Oh,
one was.
we add the date.
Yeah,
sure.
we added
We
it.
added
Okay,
it.
wait, there's
Ours
that
was
one's blank.
December, and I think we posted in October.
mhm.
Wow.
I think it was,
I don't think we should give them that long this time.
And I was just thinking, so if we post this in July, we give them till the end of August, or middle of August,
That would
it's
be
8
too
weeks?
You gotta watch your time, because then you're,
Exactly.
well, no, I guess it doesn't matter at that point in terms of schools, and
No,
I guess that
Well,
doesn't matter.
I think I'm.
Because they're not coming in yet, it's just
Right,
them
no, that's-
sending their
they're sending
resumes, so yeah.
Yeah,
so let's do 8 weeks.
8 weeks from date of posting.
Or
So if we know we don't post until after the 4th, it's 8 weeks.
does that make
You
it
wanna keep it
two,
open for 8 weeks?
or 6 weeks? 8 weeks seems long.
I think
Does.
4 weeks, I think a month is.
Oh, I think a month's too short, it's
It's
the,
the
su-
summer.
it's the
It's
summer,
summer.
it's the
Summer,
summer.
yeah.
We'll go with
Vacation.
6 weeks.
Six.
Okay. All in favor of 6?
Aye.
Now, is this,
But we need
are
a
we,
motion.
are we doing this because we have to pay for it for that much time? Or is it just,
What
We
what
wanna go on
closing
with
what
this.
closing the resumes does is that then you can start interviewing.
We put the committee, the official committee together to look at all the resumes, start the interview process,
Because
which
you-
that could take another 8 weeks.
Mhm.
Because if you do it all ahead of time as ones come in, you'll use all your energy up in 6 weeks. So if you don't really look at them until the week before the closing, then you start the
vetting
refresh
process.
and
Yes, no,
and
maybe
look at
not.
those
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything.
And can you extend the closing if you
Yeah.
haven't?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want a motion?
Um,
6 weeks, is that too much?
We
Or you
could
can
probably, we
just
could
make
probably
a
just wait it
sentence.
all at the end, we
Just-
can make the
yeah.
whole motion for what, adding the new, no relocation package ahead of time. I think, in general, we wanna just make sure the qualities, do we wanna say out loud what qualities we're looking for in a
What
new
does it
director?
say in that post, cause not all of us have that.
Qualifications, it says the ideal candidate will have the skills to ensure services are in alignment with the library's mission, vision, values, and strategic goals, and will work cooperatively in a team-centered environment. Must have excellent customer service skills, the ability to communicate effectively, also must possess excellent technology and computer skills.
So master's degree in library science, 3 to 5 years professional library experience, and 2 years of supervisory experience.
It says
The
preferred,
MLS is
master's degree,
preferred,
what is that?
yeah. So the only thing that I think is missing out of here, and it says it up there in the duties and descriptions, is, town of Groveland is seeking an innovative, dynamic, motivated library professional to lead the Langley Adams Library. The director is responsible for coordinating the day-to-day operations of the public library, preparing and presenting budgets, so bylaws, people pay attention, see if there's anything out of sync. Purchasing and managing all collections and materials acquisitions, developing and administrating library policies and procedures, reporting to the Board of Library Trustees, and establishing and maintaining partnerships with town government, community groups, and local businesses to actively promote the library as a community center.
Now, in the job title, it says recommends library policies. They don't, the director doesn't, and the bylaw should also state it that way.
Say it again?
It's the trustees
That-
who write policy, but the director can suggest,
Recommend, yes.
recommend library policy.
Where are you reading that?
I'm reading this from the job the 3-pager.
Okay. Yep.
So that would be one thing that jumps out.
So change this
It shouldn't
word
say
to.
developing, it should say. Oh,
Well,
actually,
developing is,
Yes.
recommended.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
It's another way of saying it.
Yeah.
And can I just say, while you're reviewing, that we should come up with some of these changes that we want, make them, and then have it for our next meeting, because we have to allow the public to make a comment on it, so we can't completely vote this in without
On a
having had it.
job application?
I think on everything. We're
And this is
supposed to
gonna
be,
posted on the town website
Is that
and
what
everything?
Denise told?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
for policy, that this isn't a policy, this is just a job application.
So do you mean the,
Before
this?
this posting is done, I think we have to give the public an opportunity to make their comments on
Oh.
this.
Yeah.
And
I
then we
see.
can, so we can come up with things that we'd like to see changed to what this is. Make the changes and have it for the next meeting, so that if there are any people from the public that wanna make a comment, they can have it in advance, make the comments, and then we can, then we can finalize it.
We won't be
posting.
posting.
So we wouldn't be
July.
able to post it.
And we won't be posting
Unless
until
we
the end of
set up-
July.
Unless we set up a separate meeting just for that,
Which we could,
which we could.
if we could get together, say, the week after the 4th, if everyone's back from vacation, a
Mhm.
quick meeting that
For
we
one
allow
item.
the public, to come in and weigh in on this, cause we
If
would like
there's
to get
anybody
this
that wants to
posted.
wait, cause we would like to get it posted,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the next meeting is, I think, July 25th.
This is June.
I think the numbers go the same way as June.
just ask, even though it was on the agenda, the posting open position for director search, this still needs to be okay?
Except that we didn't leave it ahead of time
Oh, okay.
with the
Okay.
agenda.
But we passed this out last week.
Mhm.
Did we pass it out to the public?
Have you probably seen it?
Yep, we passed these out.
But we didn't allow them to make any suggestions to them, and that's what we need to do.
And we didn't make any
Okay.
suggestions to them until that's what we're doing
Right.
right now.
Right.
Okay.
But
So,
wasn't that this meeting that they should have come to?
I think let's just, on the safe side, make
Okay.
sure that we're doing it the proper way. If Denise
Yep.
tells us that
Exactly.
we don't have to do that, but
Right.
we could make the motion to accept it, I believe, the way that we're making the changes to present it. And
Leave it
then-
open for 6
Make
weeks.
these changes, do our next meeting to present it and adopt it, and then post it.
Right, and then if we need to call a special meeting for a week from now or 2 weeks from now, whatever it is, so we can get it posted, we
We can do that.
can do that and allow people to come in.
Can't we do that now? Can't we make a meeting?
Can't call it,
Oh,
call
we
a
can always
meeting.
make it up, yeah,
Yeah.
put it on a calendar, we can always cancel it.
Right, so we'll leave it open for 6 weeks and we'll put the no relocation and leave it as is.
Do we wanna look at the week of July 7th? Cause next week's the holiday. I know you're away,
The week of the holiday, I'm back, the 7th.
you're back the 7th.
So what is
And I'm
that?
around, so.
So
Seventh is
what
a
are we
Monday.
talking
7th is
about,
a
Wednes-
Monday.
Are we talking about a Wednesday?
Wednesday would be
So
the
being the
9th.
9th.
9. I'm here.
I'm here.
Okay, so we'll go have a meeting, a special meeting to approve,
Just call it a regular meeting.
a regular
Doesn't
meeting.
come as a special meeting.
To approve the job description
Yeah.
and posting for
director.
the director.
And
And while we're
maybe,
doing
yeah.
it, the library,
Matt,
Manager.
other library position.
okay, yeah.
What time?
7.
Any chance we could do it earlier?
6:30.
That would be wonderful.
6, any chance?
6
I'd like to be someplace by 6:30 if possible, but
I can do 6.
I
can do
Anybody
6.
else can do 6?
All right, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's all we're gonna talk about, so.
That's
we'll-
all we're gonna
That's
talk
it.
about.
In and out,
Position.
baby, in and out,
Yep.
pending comments.
Thank you, everybody. I love this cooperation.
Okay, so while we're looking at this one, do we have the library, is it this one, the library services manager?
Yes. So,
Do you want me to make copies?
Sorry, I'm just pulling out things from a pile that I have here, so I don't have extra
Library
copies.
services manager.
can you go?
It's my foot, it's my hand.
Alright. So the library manager's position for the retiring staff is currently like 21 hours.
21 hours.
We're gonna bring it down to a 19 and a half hour, so
Not
9,
18, 19 hours.
18, 19 hours. So it's an unbenefited position, and Jen was able to talk to Gail about what her role is and what, the qualifications and what she does that might be unique, and
Yeah, and she really said that she doesn't do anything that anybody else can't already do.
Oh,
She said there was one program that she might have to train people on, but otherwise, everyone is very familiar with all the programs that she uses and all the
excellent.
duties that she does. There was really nothing that stood out to her as being unique.
so, so leaving it at, right now, we have one library's assistant position right now at 15 hours, and leaving it as a more generic position is, in my opinion, better for an incoming new director, so that they could massage things and also, interview skills that are there. I think we can't leave the position as a temp, because there's just gonna be too many temps
Right.
and too many interims on staff. And right now, just to remind everybody, the library assistant, it's normally 15 hours, has gone up to about 19 hours to keep things filled in. One of the pages that is usually at 10 hours has gone up to about 19 hours to keep things running. And the interim children's librarian is at like 35, 37 to keep things running as is.
So I think that's another discussion too. Do we post that position as well and start collecting the resumes for the youth services librarian?
I mean, we could be going in the first of the year.
what I
Hopefully
think.
not, but
I hope not.
Yeah.
Do we wanna focus
I-
on other positions? No, we wanna do,
I think we
Also
want, I think
want
we
the
need to focus
director-
on the director, I think, I'm sorry, Anne, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just thinking, I think we had originally talked that maybe the director should be the one hiring the youth librarian, so that,
Yes, I just, my fear is that we're at the first of the year and we're still paying a temp.
Right.
So
And that is above the salary grade that we have budgeted for.
Yeah.
So that's my only fear
And
of,
we can't
of spending
keep
budget before we can
rattling on.
actually,
Budget has already been set by the town.
right,
So one of the things is, the interim right now, the children's librarian, is going to be leaving mid-August. So we would have to have bibliotemp send in another temp anyway.
would it make
She
sense?
got a job.
She got a job as a children's librarian in a school system, which is
What she
which
really
is her
wants to
goal,
do.
and she has an MLS in, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just wondering if there's a way to, if we're thinking, well, it'd probably be risky, I mean, if we're thinking we're gonna get somebody hired within like 2 months, like after the 6 weeks closes, then if we were to start advertising for the children's librarian, cause then it might
I think we should
play into-
not advertise for 3 positions at the same time.
Yeah.
So, one of my hopes would be is that we'd be able to have the 19-hour position filled within Groveland resident, because we're not looking for any special degree. The children's librarian would have to have specialized,
But we can't specify.
right, yeah.
but is it better for, I mean, you know, the ideal is that the director hires the
Yes.
children's
Right,
librarian.
yes, because they're
We may not
full-time.
be in the ideal because of Julie not being able to stay. Do you really wanna bring in another temp and bring them up to speed? Or do you want to include staff from, like Diana or Gail, who have been with other children's librarians over all these years, that could give us a pretty good input in terms of interviewing as well. I mean, they work with children's librarians, so they would have a feel for the person.
I think the only issue may be that then we're staffing the organization and we're gonna lose potential candidates because they're gonna see it as they're not gonna have it really a say. Because
But
we're,
wouldn't that have been in our,
If
except for
Susie
our
stayed,
unusual situation?
if Susie had stayed and not left, then that would be the position that the director would be in.
They would just.
they're stepping in to take over.
They're stepping in to
With a
take
staff
over
that's
with the
already in
staff that's
place.
existing.
But-
I don't know, I mean, just,
Right, so that would have been like, yes, that would have been the case, but now they see that it was hired, so,
Right.
which is, so it was,
yeah.
so
okay.
we, one thing to take current staff, and it's another thing to be working with the trustees' chosen staff.
So, well, what's my suggestion?
So-
We were on a conversation about the library services manager position.
And is that Gail's position?
That's
Yeah.
Gail's position.
We just wanna
So now
remember
we should-
names, or
Okay.
lacking
Right.
names.
Put us-
The other thing that, an idea that came up was, job sharing, and I don't know whether, is job sharing allowed by the town? Do you know, Kathy?
I've never seen it done.
So, and again, I don't know whether, the previous children's librarian left for maternity leave, and it's about 3 years, so I don't know whether her child is ready for, preschool, so whether, and she was beloved by the town, so,
I heard that she was pregnant again.
how wonderful. So,
So are we talking about the children's library or are we talking?
we're talking about the children's librarian at the
We're
moment.
switching back and forth.
So we're switching back and forth.
So to stay with the children's librarian though, is, that is also an option, to get good permanent staff would be job sharing. It opens up opportunities.
I guess that's something we can ask.
We can ask, I mean,
About?
Talk to Nancy.
That's a paid benefit position generally though, right?
yes, it is.
Right.
So
So that would end up
people may
being
not
two
want that,
part-time,
cause you can have 2 part-timers.
not benefited positions.
And
Unless they only want part-time work and they understand it doesn't come with it.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
And the other thing is that you can have one that actually, if they need it, they go to the 21 to 23 hour position, the other one is,
Once you hire somebody that's a non-benefited position, you have to move a mountain to get them to be a benefited position.
so it's better to keep
You have
it,
to move a mountain.
so it's better to keep the
So if you wanna
benefit.
replace a certain number of hours that we've budgeted for going forward, then that's what we need to be looking for.
So we should probably consider just keeping that at full time.
But maybe you can job share the library services manager.
Right,
Because we've already budgeted hours, so we can't get any more hours
No.
by him.
No, and you need some consistency.
Yeah,
People come and go and come and go in 2 hours. I see the schedule sometimes, it's 2 hours, it's 3 hours. It's not,
But that's how it always has been.
yeah,
That's,
but we never run out to 2 or 3 hours.
All right, so to finish on the children's librarian, keeping, not advertising at the same time we advertise for a permanent director is a good idea.
so we'll
Yeah.
post the director's position and the library services manager's position.
What are you thinking, Barbara?
and when will we eventually post for the children's library or youth library?
I think
At what point?
yeah, it's a good question.
I mean, she
So-
leaves at a crucial time. She leaves right before school starts.
Right.
Well, she leaves at a crucial time in one way, but in another way, she stays with the summer program,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
hugely
yeah.
popular.
Are they in place, the summer program?
It is,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Fizz Boom.
Yeah, last,
Fizz
the
boom
last
bang.
time she gave us a whole list of,
Yeah, I didn't know if there was pamphlets out for people to look at.
I think it's on the
Or
website.
The
Or
website just got
program.
posted,
Oh,
I
did it?
I saw that,
I signed into it the other
Okay.
day, so.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Um,
And the reality is we probably wouldn't be able to get somebody hired before she left
No,
anyways, so we'll probably need to get another temp.
right, but could we do a temp for a month, knowing that we have the job posted
Right?
with resumes coming in? And I don't think it's a bad thing to have all 3 jobs posted. I think
I
that
think-
I just
wonder-
feel like what you're gonna have is that there's people that are looking to fill the directorship are gonna see that you have the opportunity of allowing me to create my team and
I
you're
and
agree.
you took
I,
it.
and I do agree with that, I
taking
think.
that away from me,
Yeah.
so.
All right, so should
I
we
agree.
table this
But-
discussion until after we look, after we
If I
talk
could
about
just
the
say one
interim?
more thing, but I think if we are already planning on hiring the director and hiring the library services manager, it's technically one person. It's a one-person team that the director would be hiring. So, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. It's not like they're hiring the full team, because if we're posting these 2 positions, that only leaves 1 position left for a
No,
director
I'm
to
saying,
hire.
right, but what I'm saying is if you're looking for a director and there's other vacancies, then it's almost a courtesy to let the director to choose the team.
Sure.
We don't have that luxury though.
Right, that's,
We have to replace Gail before Gail.
Well, we actually talked
Ideally,
about
we
having
have-
an interim in
Right.
library assistant for that. We did talk about
Right.
that.
Because that's a fairly easy position to.
To
To
fill.
fill quickly, but the point is that we're paying a 40% service
overage,
charge.
right.
For the children's.
No,
For anything,
for any
anything.
temp that we
Yeah.
So
hire.
even if we got a library assistant, we're still paying 40% over, and you know, the salary is lower than what our children's paid, but then you add,
Overage, yeah.
Can the library assistant be covered by other people? Like, nobody on staff can cover the children's. But other people on staff could maybe pick up the library services manager parts or move over into that and, you know, are there other ways around this that we can maybe move some current staff?
Right.
Or is it a completely different position? Is it a page position that we
Yeah.
get 2 or 3 pages in here to
Until we
put
hire the
bodies
director.
Right,
in
and then-
place and in motion, then hire the director, then go for an official manager and then an official
then-
youth.
What are you gonna do with the people that you've hired temporarily?
right, and then,
The
and then,
pages.
and then if,
But we've heard that they want more pages. That's been a
They-
request.
They want
The
it.
staff.
Not in
There's
the
no
budget.
money in the budget for it.
Right, but
We can't do
Could we
it.
bump Lauren up a few hours?
Well, we can't discuss people's names.
No, And this is,
But
And then that would have to be more of an executive session, I think, wouldn't
yeah,
it?
I don't know.
first of all, if we add people, we're not, what are we gonna say now, we don't need to leave? I mean,
So-
we can't.
No, but I'm saying if
Temporarily, using temps as instead of hiring a high-end temp, we hire lower temps.
But not even necessarily a temp. We
Temp.
have people that are within this library who are helping out that perhaps could take on a temporary role, but that already know the
say it's a
job.
contract position, maybe the word is not temporary, it's a contract position for,
So,
You
but
know,
I think
I don't
Kathy's
know.
question, I think Kathy's question is, okay, that current staff bumps over to help cover this. And then we backfill with more pages.
It's not.
Then what do we do when that position is filled, that person can't go back to a page? Because we already have a new page in the position.
Well, we'd be looking at, would it be moving people up? Is this the time that there are people that it would be
I don't know,
appropriate
but I know this,
to move up?
is we have to work within the salary, it's the budgeted.
Okay, we're not talking about not working, we are working within the budget.
Yeah, and what if we tried to hire someone new for the 15-hour position and let the 15-hour position person move up to 19?
So we're talking about promoting and
If-
promotions
if-
They-
or?
they
Yeah,
have
we'd
to
have to talk
apply.
to staff and they would have to apply,
would
but
have
you
to
know,
apply.
we should look at within.
But-
If there are people within this library that are working that have an interest in and have the qualifications,
willing to take on a larger role.
and are willing to take on a larger role, then shouldn't we be looking in that direction and then filling a lower position?
Well,
And if we have too many of the lower positions, you can say to someone, this could very well be temporary, it's,
so I don't think we have that luxury of just saying to somebody it could be a temporary position in.
not,
with-
not if we're moving people up, I'm talking
If with the
about.
Groveland, employees, like you can't hire a temporary Groveland employee.
I think we should post for the director, and then I think we should post for this 18-hour position.
I have one more question, and I know this is adding more confusion, not helping. How do we promote somebody within the library? So I just said that and everybody said, well, they would have to apply for the position, but
We would have to we'd have to post the official position,
that's only if there's an
Well,
opening, that's
but
only if
do-
there's an opening, let's just pretend there's not an opening.
but there is an opening.
There is going to be an opening.
The library services
Someone's
manager
retiring.
is that position.
Right, but that's applying for their position versus promoting somebody.
You still have to post the position.
You still have to,
So
post-
you
Do
have
we have to
cre-
post that position? Why
Yeah. You have to
people be
create
promoted?
a position, because if there's no position,
But why can't you create that person's position if they're being promoted?
But again, we're filling positions that maybe the new director, I think we need to keep people where they are for now, to take care of what they're doing, and advertise, as she said, it would probably be somebody local who would provide them.
I'd like to look at promotion as a possibility. I
The-
mean, you've
the-
got trained people within this library.
But they could apply, somebody who is working here that wants this position could absolutely apply, and we have it posted. And I
But if we
think-
don't have to post it,
we have
Are
to.
the
I-
job
no matter what, you have to
descriptions-
post it.
I think we have to
Wait a
post it.
minute, the other
No.
piece of this is aren't we allowed to hire or recommend the hiring of the director, and that is all?
Right.
Right,
So
It
the
is.
other positions,
That's-
we can't hire anyway.
No, we can, in lieu of a no director, we can.
Yeah.
we can hire them.
That, which is the challenge, is since there is no director, then we can. When there becomes an interim director, then, which is my point, is that I think we should talk about the
Yeah,
interim director.
I think we're getting the,
Because
the cart.
that might influence what we do and how we do it.
But we still need to agree to post the permanent director's position.
Okay.
Right.
At least
Which
post
we're-
that
which
and,
we're gonna talk about on the night.
that's right, on our
Right.
July 9th night. Now that you've looked at that posting,
Right.
everybody will, then we'll get that
So-
posting put out so that it can be reviewed for comments by
So,
the public and us
we've
And then-
agreed to post that one.
for July
Come-
9th.
Right, agreed to post that one, coming back July 9th to confirm all that,
Entertain any public.
entertain any changes, comments on that.
And then I think if there was recommendations for more pages or something like that would have to wait till the new director is in.
But
So-
we do have the library services manager position that's gonna be coming up. soon.
In
I
1
think
month.
that has to be addressed as
Right.
well.
So,
By our next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I
So-
think we've got this.
Right.
Why can't we also look at this posting
Right.
and again put
Well,
that out to the public?
that's what Kathy said, she wants to post that meeting.
That's what I think we should
Where the
post.
heck
But
is-
what title are we gonna give it? We're not gonna give it. How are we gonna change it?
Library assistant, it's
Library
gonna be a
assistant.
library
So
assistant.
that would be,
You might wanna,
this position then.
The services manager. Oh, no.
This is a new, a
This
totally
is,
different
this is
one.
the library assistant position is, shall operate under the supervision of the director, shall have proven experience working and providing exceptional library service to customers, shall have positive outlook, does anybody want,
I'll make
what's
copies
different?
of this one.
Yeah, thank you.
It's slightly
Slightly less duty.
less duties, yeah.
no, which one are we gonna do?
I don't think there's a handout, actually, we get copies of it.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully we can
Oh,
post
you
the
have it.
position and
Okay.
have the director hire. That's the advantage.
So what's the
We're
difference
losing
between?
someone July 29th.
So
Which
that's
I
a
have no
position-
problem getting a bibliotemp temp in. Four.
I think that's what we should do.
That's gonna kill our budget,
I think that
but,
we,
yeah.
Well, then let's go with the temp. We're gonna have an interim director in place. And
I,
then,
I
and,
thought we
yeah,
were forgoing the director.
no.
What?
thank you.
What do you mean we're foregoing the director?
I thought we were not going to fill the director, we were just gonna look to hire a new permanent director and
Oh.
not bring an interim.
We had a new candidate at, we're not gonna slow down looking for a permanent, but it is still gonna take 4 months. And that we cannot keep operating on the library cannot keep operating on the
Without-
minimum that we have right now. So, and a library assistant is not, is an option, but I don't think it's gonna be a solution for 4 months. And it's gonna take 4 months before we hire a director.
So we're saying
at
that
the
we're adding a
ideal.
library assistant, but we're gonna be losing a library services manager.
What,
That's
that's
just the
title change,
the same
title
person,
change.
same job.
Because when we manage it,
You
you
just
know,
don't wanna hire
something
somebody as a
benefits.
manager, it just sounds a little.
But it's two different job descriptions, am I
It is
right?
two different job descriptions, yes.
Right.
But
But
we're
Gail-
eliminating
but
a job description and
Gail's
turning it to this.
position changed drastically and her job description did not. So when she
Okay.
went from 35 hours, 37 hours
Yeah,
to 21, 23,
it was a whole.
there was a complete change in what she did.
So that other one that I just gave out to everybody is really moot, is that correct?
The one, the library assistant
No, the
No.
library service
The
manager.
library service manager, that's
is
moot,
moot.
okay.
It's changed and the description was never changed.
Alright, so now we're talking about
Because
library
the-
assistant,
Which it
Current
would be
library
July
services manager
29th.
dropped hours.
okay.
Non-benefit.
And that's the 18 to 19 hour.
Cause she is currently at 21 and
And
benefited.
benefited.
Right, yes. But she was at
35.
Yeah.
So the manager has leadership, and the assistant doesn't have to have leadership. Ability to communicate effectively with customers, staff, parents, teachers, children, both orally and in writing.
Which one are you reading from?
Assistant,
assistant.
assistant. Shall have a proven experience with a variety of software, including Word, processing, as well as internet applications such as online resources. So this is a similar position with more hours than our current library assistant. Provides reader advisory for all patrons, assists patrons in selecting, reading material, should just say material. Assists in identifying sources for outside funding such as grants. I think that's
That's above.
unrealistic.
Yeah,
We taking that out?
We can leave it in there, we would make unrealistic. Keeps up to date with new trends in library services. Again, I'm not sure that that's
But I think keeps up to date with new trends is new software, like
Yeah.
the evergreen that they changed to or
Yeah.
anything. I think that should stay. Especially
But it's also just keeping up to date with what's going on in this field.
yeah,
That's all that
yeah.
really
I think it's a
says.
good thing to keep.
Participates in professional meetings to strengthen skills, interact with fellow professionals and contribute to the profession, creates original cataloging of materials as well as maintaining all bibliographic records, assists the youth service librarian and adult service librarian with
I think
40
change coordinator to librarian under
Yeah.
adult services.
with programs, processes incoming and outgoing interlibrary loans, participates in the daily activities, including circulation, reference, and technical. Shall demonstrate commitment to ongoing professional development and shall perform other related duties as requested by the
I
director.
think that's great.
And actually, pretty much,
It's very similar.
yeah,
Very
very
similar.
similar, just kind of like reviews books and that kind of thing.
But that could be, duties requested by the director,
Right,
prepare this
exactly.
book.
Covers all of it.
A lot of this, yeah.
I'm gonna say something that probably is not really politically correct, but somehow we have to put something in the ad for this about being able to stand on your feet for long periods of time
Oh, yeah.
and lifting those books are heavy.
Yes, I think we should look at what the town description is, cause I think it's like 50 pounds.
It is, I
Um,
think it is.
And we really have to be
Good.
firm on that.
yes,
And
Physical requirements.
physical requirements,
physical
yes.
requirements.
Yeah.
And one task posting we did have,
I think this does usually, this is our piece that has to be put on top of
But we have
the
to make
town
sure.
piece. Yeah.
But that's good to have
It's a
in
great,
there.
it's a great thing
And
to
should it be
bring
in
up.
the other one too?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Both.
Yeah.
It should be in both.
definitely,
It is in the formal library director one.
It is, yes.
This one says, work performed in a typical office environment with moderate noise, must be able to stand, walk, stoop, or reach with hands and arms. Required to sit for extended periods of time, so should also start required to stand.
Stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it says must be able to stand while it's, yeah.
Right, but I think we should, I agree with
Stand
Barbara,
for
saying
extended,
stand
yeah.
for
And work
extended
in that
period of
front
time.
desk to sit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
Required
about that
to
other
lift on
posting?
occasion up to 35 pounds and push a cart of materials up to 150 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extensive computer work. I think all of those should be carried on to any job
Yeah.
description.
Yeah.
And, good point,
Good
Barbara.
catch.
Thank you,
It's
thank you.
important, it is really important.
And, and
Okay.
it might be 50 pounds, you think?
Yeah, it says 35, but those bins are really heavy.
Yeah.
But they
And-
lift the bins, they can actually.
Oh,
They
yeah,
shove
oh,
them
and I have to
around
move
and-
them all
oh,
over.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and,
I empty them.
I
And we
just
should
want
have
to take-
staff input as well on our next round, on our posting for the next meeting. So it should be public, us and staff
Yeah.
comments, right?
Yes.
so Jen, will you pass them?
Yes, I will retype them with the changes that we have made and then pass them along.
I might have them as an electronic
How
ballot.
do you say shall perform other related duties as requested by the director? What about just saying as required?
As required by the director or as
As
required?
required.
Or as requested.
It could be
As
required in other parts of positions throughout the library that may not be requested by the director, but just may
Okay,
be.
so as required.
Yeah. Is that way?
I believe I might have these
Generic.
as an electric
Yeah,
file
you
as
should.
well, so
If
I'll
you don't,
double check, yeah,
if you don't, I do.
okay.
So the advantage of posting them together is that we might not have to, our first priority would be hiring a director, but our second would be at least getting the applications in. And that would be one of the first duties.
I kind of feel like the library assistant is our first only because we're losing that person
So quickly,
so quickly.
Okay, so can I have a motion to go into executive session per,
Yes, I was actually looking, I don't have the exact number here. Carlos, do you have your open meeting law handy? That could just give us the code for executive session. It's Mass Law
30.
It wasn't.
Here it is, take it from this
Thank you.
subcommittee.
Okay,
30A.
so, make a request to go into executive session for MGL Chapter 30, Section 21-8, to consider, an interview applicant, as we've already done the preliminary screening, but we would like to discuss the candidate with, members of the board, without having a detrimental effect by being on television. So we need to have a roll call vote.
Wait, first you need a motion.
She made the motion.
I'm making the motion to
We need a
go
second.
into executive session.
And can I have a second?
I'll second.
And Carlos, I'll call the roll call vote. Carlos, yes or no?
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Heidi,
Yes.
Anne Marie,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Beth, Burton, yes?
Jennifer Close, yes?
All in favor? Roddy's all in favor?
It's all in
And,
favor.
going into executive session at 8:20.
8:26, we're asking Groveland TV to shut off at this time while we go into executive session. An open meeting before adjourning for the evening.
Thank you.
So